Things are about to go into a whole new level towards the end of this latest chapter of Record of Ragnarok. While we see Queen Shang, his eyes has been revealed towards the end of the chapter, because we know for the fact that this fight is going to kick into a whole nother level, a whole nother gear, because the fight between Hades and Quin Shi is actually continued. And we also get a backstory of Quin Shi and how he was in the past and how he became the first emperor. But we also get a bit of an understanding of how Hades and his relationship was with Poseidon. All of this is going down in this latest chapter of Record of Ragnarok, and let's begin in the beginning of this chapter. So we go into ancient China, where they discuss about an ancient demon or an ancient god whose name is Qi Yu. And throughout the whole country of China, each locations of China, they describe this ancient beast as a person who has like an ox with 6 arms, or a demon or a god that has an iron head. But in actuality, no one doesn't really know how this person actually looks, because that was not the actual truth. The actual truth is that he is the god of war or the god of military, depending on which location that you are, because he's the guy who invited a whole bunch of weapons like the crossbow, the sword, the armor, the spear, and the other weapons that we see Quin Shi is using during the fight against Hades. So while that's going on, we get a full reveal on how Qi Yu actually look, the demon of gods. And he actually is just looking like a regular monster like Hajin, but kind of more chubbier, and pretty much his head, his horns are like just pretty much side by side triangles. So it's just pretty much just a normal demon who has 2 arms, 2 legs, and he's just chilling at this current moment. And while he's there, just sitting there, he's looking at all of his servants, while all of his servants are literally crying and have a ton of fear, because this is the devil that's actually is preventing people to be kings. So one day, all of the whole nation of China decided to unify thanks to one king, the king of Qin, who unified China to go ahead and defeat this monster, Qi Yu. So before he was able to go ahead and do that, he decided to go into the mountains, and he's decided to do a homage to Qi Yu, the god of the military. And he did some kind of ceremony, was the rite of Fang of Shang. And so within that ceremony and during that whole course of him being in the mountains, he's the only one that knew the truth of this, which was Queen Shi Hang himself. So we see Queen Shi Hang, he's going to approach Qi Yu, and as he's approaching Qi Yu, there's this whole bunch of skeletons around and everything. So while Qi Yu is finishing up his last victim, he has been waiting and suspect that Quinn is going to arrive, because he says that you are the king of Quinn. He was like, you are the ones who overthrew the 6 warring states. And he also complimented Quin Shi, because he was saying that you are awfully young and your courage is memorable. He was saying all of the other kings before you will tremble in the sight of me, because Quin Shi, he's just smiling and he's just all standing up. This man has so much confidence, so much swag. This man doesn't even care, because this demon is literally way taller and way bigger than Quin Shi, because Quin Shi looks like a giant ant at this moment. So he says, but no matter. He was just like, to offer your 10,000 of your soldiers and your people and kneel before me, and I will offer you the king of armor. So Queen Shi, he has this box, so it looks like it's pretty much an offering. So he decided to give it to Qi Yu, and while he gave it to Qi Yu noticed something off about this offering or this sacrifice. So he summoned one of his arm, because he grew an arm. He grabbed it, caught it, and he realized that it was a dummy. So while he realized that it was a dummy, he is being very, very insulted by the trickery that Queen Shi actually was able to do. So Quin Shi, he was just like, the soil of Quinn is the most delicious. Eat as your heart desire. And at this current moment, Qi Yu, he is just being disgusted. He doesn't like how the fact that Quinn Shi actually tried to play them. So at this current moment, they start to begin their battle. In the course of 6 days, Queen Shi actually defeated Qi Yu, and he was able enough to unify and become the true king of all of China. And during that course of time, he was able to learn and steal the abilities of Qi Yu, and that's how the backstory ends. And we go into the present time while we go and continue the fight between Hades and Qi Yu. So we continue where we left off from the fight between Hades, and Hades is crashed down to the wall and literally bleeding everywhere from his forehead. He even has a gash in the middle of his stomach, and everyone's just surprised at just the technique that Quinn Shi has able enough to go and put damage. So while that's going on, Brunhilde informed everyone about the technique that he learned, this ultimate martial art technique while fighting Qi Yu, because while he was fighting and mastering it, it's part of the 5 division of the fighting style. And we see the picture of the armor, the spear, the sword, the crossbow, the halberd, and all these other things that's surrounding the star. So while that's going on the god side, Ares is just surprised that he used this technique on him. And he was just like, I've seen this technique before. And Hermes tried to break down how the technique actually worked, because when Hades went in charge against Quinn Shi, he was able to deflect the energy that Hades attacked and then immediately send it right back to him. So it looks like the demonstration how he just grabbed the spear and then he just pretty much just tossed Hades to the wall. So Hades getting up and he's doing heavily breathing, and Queen Shi is saying, still waiting to fight, Lord of the Netherworlds. And as they both just stare down at each other, everyone's just in shock that Quinn Shi actually said that. So Hades starts to say, Quinn Shi, wasn't it? Tell me one thing. What is in your eyes? Make a king. And Quinn Shi's like, a king? He says, one who never doubts, never yield, never rule, and always stand as the leader of his people. That is what makes a king. And Hades is just like in shock of the answer, and he just started bust out laughing, while both of them are just started laughing, and everyone's just like looking at them like, why these guys are just laughing. So we get just a full panel just dedicating from Quinn Shi and Hades just bust out laughing. And as that happened, Quinn Shi says, so what, did you find it funny? And pretty much Hades is saying that you remind me of someone that I knew too well. I do? Yes. And while he was saying that, he started picturing a Poseidon. And that's when we get a better understanding of why Hades, he has so much passion for his brother. So Hades goes and describes about how his brother was a noble than any other gods. He was more than a standfast than others, and the god that's most worthy of the king. So he says, my younger brother Poseidon, the king of the sea, he was like, I promise you that me, the older brother, I am going to beat the king of man. And as he is stating that statement, everyone's embracing Hades' next attack, because they start to see him going up and charging and jumping up in the air while trying to go ahead and attack Quinn Shi. So as that's going on, we see that him lifting up the spear and started to go ahead and start to go and strike against Quinn Shi. And Quinn Shi, he's embracing this attack. He already knows that this attack is about to happen. So he's prepared to go ahead and to witness what Hades is going to throw at him. So as the spear, or this whole scythe thing, whatever it's called, is going towards Quinn Shi is able to use his heavily hands defense to try to go ahead and deflect it. And as both of these attacks came into contact, it just became a huge clash. And Hades knows that, you know what, I need to put more force and more pressure onto this attack. So Hades goes ahead and move closer, and he put more force in it. And he says, the king of man. And then as Quinn Shi, he is just holding on tight, because the amount of force and pressure that he is facing, he can't reflect the attack. So automatically Quinn Shi is trying to hold on real hard. But he says, I am the king of the Neverworld. And as he do a deep breathe, Hades started yelling out his name, and he does all his amount of force, and he just automatically was able to crush Quin Shi, and Quin Shi is on the ground, laying down face first onto the ground and full of rubble, and you start to see him bleeding from the head, and everyone's just in shock. This battle's about to end, and we see Quin Shi is just coughing out blood, but Quin Shi gets up and he is just like, bruh, I'm not done with you. He was just like, I'm still willing to fight. So Hades, he decided to throw back at the comment that Quin Shi told him earlier, and he says, still waiting to fight, King of Man. And then so automatically we see Quin Shi, he takes off his blindfold, and everyone's just in shock to see like what is going on. Besides the humanity that was around the time that Quin Shi was the emperor, and while everyone's just in shock because they can't believe that Quin Shi took out his blindfold, we are able to see Quin Shi's eyes in his face. So we get to see how his full face actually looked like. And that's just pretty much the end of the chapter, while he says that, shall we continue, the king of the Neverworlds? And while Quin Shi is smiling and his head bleeding. So pretty much this whole entire chapter, things are about to cook up into a whole next level in the next coming chapter, because the fact that Quin Shi does not have his blindfold anymore, and now he's all hyped up, powered up, and he's just ready for like the next attack that he's about to throw, or Hades about to throw. You know, this whole entire chapter, or this next entire chapter, is going to be insane. But throughout this chapter, it was pretty interesting to see, you know, Quin Shi's backstory and how he became the first emperor. And on top of that, just seeing and understanding how Poseidon, how much of respect that he has for his little brother, and how much he actually admires him because he embodiment of a king. So this fight is going to be very, very interesting, because you have two kings that has the same attitude, the same swag, the same everything going at each other. So I'm pretty hyped for what's going to happen in the next chapter. But other than that, let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter. What's your guys' favorite moment? And if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monto Man, and hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here.